Wrestling Con #2 right here in Freehold, New Jersey, with the famous and infamous James J. Dillon, classic icon and manager of the Four Horsemen, of course, WWE Hall of Famer. JJ, this event is awesome right here.
Yeah,
great
it
to see
sure
you.
is. Here with Gimmick Tree Entertainment, and they wanted me to come back. And I was born and raised in Trenton, which is just a stone's throw from here. Went to school, high school, and then went to college in Pennsylvania. So I don't have any family in the area anymore, but this is always a special place to me.
Yeah, and it's great to see you again. I know we've had a chance to interview you over the years at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame when it was in Amsterdam, and some great talk of that potentially coming back to upstate New York.
Yeah, I've heard that. Tony wanted to try to expand the base, and so he was approached about moving it to Dallas, and I understand the logic of doing it at the time, but really the heart and soul and success of it is Tony Villano. And unless you had a counterpart in Texas, which they didn't, it just wasn't going to have that magical feel that it had up in Amsterdam. And so it's coming back, and Tony's going to be involved, and that's exciting news for the Hall of Fame, and it would be a great place to visit and good for the local community.
Looking back on your wrestling career, one of the most iconic managers in the game, what do you reflect on most fondly about your career?
Well, I started in the Northeast, originally from Trenton, New Jersey, and became a fan at the age of about 16 years old. I was a baseball fan, and my beloved Brooklyn Dodgers up and moved in 1958 to the West Coast, and my attention then all of a sudden looking for something to be involved in, and discovered professional wrestling, and that was in a way, no doubt about it, was a very good thing to happen. And as I look back now, I've got two Hall of Fame
the rings.
Yeah,
right there,
which I'm very, very proud of, and I've had a lot of help to get to where I am. I had a lot of help when I broke into the business, and I've tried to pay back and help people such as yourself that I know have a good heart and have a passion for this industry. And those that help me, I want to pass that along.
Yeah, and you've done just that, and then some in your career here, JJ. And one of the last few questions we wanted to ask you today is, obviously, the manager in the profession now, it's not as profound. It's not as prevalent, so to speak. Do you think, is that a good or a bad thing? Is that a good or bad thing?
Well, excuse me. A manager is only needed when you have to just plug a manager in just to have a manager, unless you have an Abdullah the Butcher or somebody that's a bigger than life character that doesn't speak. Just that visual picture is powerful, and to get the message, that's where the manager is very important, because he could then be the mouthpiece that tells the story. And a guy like the Stomper, he just needs to stand there and be the physical picture. So that's why you don't see as many managers now, because there's not a need for them. Just to have a manager doesn't make sense.
All right, last quick question right here, JJ, is this right here. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a Four Horsemen question, and you were talked about being the manager's manager, actually booking the flights. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, all those guys. Tell us about that.
Well, I was the right place, the right time. I'd known Flair, it's been a long time. It's been over 40 years that I've known Rick. Met him first when I was a main eventer in Amarillo, Texas, and he had been with in the Carolinas with Crockett, and they saw something very magical in him, and that's before cable television, and so only people that in the Mid-Atlantic area knew him. Then they wanted to send Rick out to other areas, and they sent him to Texas where I was, and spent a whole week with him. And we have a lot in common, and it was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. But he's one of a kind. What I respect most about him is his work ethic. I mean, he can go to an arena with 20,000 people and just have people sitting on the edge of their seat. But sometimes you go to a small town and maybe the television didn't air that weekend for some reason. And so the crowd is not what you anticipated it would be. And a lesser talent might go out and say, well, you know, I'm just going to go through the motions tonight because the crowd's not what the promoter said it would be because of circumstances beyond everybody's control. But Rick went out and he understood that if there were only 5 people there, excuse me,
Right.
those people paid the same money as if there were 20,000 people there and came with an expectation. And he understood that and went out there and delivered the same way for those 5 people, 10 people, 25 people, whatever it was, as if there were thousands. And that's why Ric Flair is so special. And I can make the argument, probably the greatest champion of all time.
That's right, the greatest champion of all time with the greatest manager of all time, James J. Dillon. And of course, if we had a tie, it'd be all silk made in Italy, James J. Dillon style. JJ,
right.
Thank you so much. Four Horsemen, baby, all the way, all the way. Thank you so much, JJ.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time.
All right.